Life's a game, the world's a stage, and we are merely role-players, where theatrical people play role-playing games. I'm Matt Boothman, and I'm your compere for this main house production. Here on Merely Role-Players, we improvise stories for your entertainment and ours. And we use role-playing games to keep the story going places even we can't see coming, because as theatrical people, we're all about maximising the drama. This is Act 1 of Vigil, Cold Snap, one of our main house productions. The main house is where we stage ongoing serial stories, with characters and plots that develop and unfold over several productions. Vigil is the story of the outsiders and weirdos who step up to defend their neighbours from monsters and worse, after the government cuts their town's official team of paranormal investigators. To tell this story, we're playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat. Cold Snap is our second Vigil production after Playtime. You don't need to have caught up on Playtime to enjoy Cold Snap, but they do share a setting and potentially some ongoing plot threads. Starting now, we'll release a new act of Cold Snap every other week, and to keep you going through the weeks in between, we'll release backstage episodes that give you a peek behind the scenes, so stay tuned for one of those next week. For now though, please take your seats in the main house. Tonight's production is about to begin. Vigil, a Merely Role-Players main house production. Cold Snap, Act 1 of 6. Let's meet the players for this fresh new production, starting with Starkey.
Hello. My name is Chris Starkey. I have been a long-term member of our Merely Role Players community, and I'm playing the wronged Cameron Jarvis.
And who would you like to introduce themselves next? Throw it forward.
I would like Josh Yard to introduce himself, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Josh Yard, long-time collaborator with Merely Roleplayers. I am playing Ginny Greenteeth, the Spell Slinger. And to my left, I have the wonderful Natalie Winter.
Hello, I am Natalie Winter, also a long-term, but not quite as long-term, Merely Roleplayers collaborator. I am playing Gwynned, the Divine. And finally...
Hi, I'm Strat. Long time Merely Roleplayers collaborator.
I don't know why I started this.
It was fun. I'm Strat, long-term Merely Roleplayers collaborator. I am playing Brier, the Monstrous.
Very good. We have a high magic team ensemble for this adventure. How's everybody feeling? It's been a long time since you did character creation in real time. Everybody excited to finally bring these characters properly to life?
Oh yeah. Yes.
Very much so.
It's going to be amazing.
Cannot wait.
Yeah, I feel like this is both in terms of the players and in terms of the characters' abilities, I feel like we have high chaos potential for this adventure.
Yeah.
Yep.
So let's start the chaos, shall we? Everybody ready to play?
Let's go.
Absolutely, let's do it.
Woohoo! The birds are singing in the Rosebrier Forest, which borders the town of Sherrydown. It's not the calm conversational bird calls It's not mating calls, it is alarm calls, because there is a party of people tramping through this area of the forest. The forest is overgrown, the undergrowth is very thick, and it's all coming into green leafy beauty as spring is springing throughout the Rosebrier Forest. There are three main people in this party. One is an inspector from the National Trust who is here to review biodiversity data on the Rosebrier Forest. This is a protected forest, and that status needs to be reviewed every now and then by making sure that it does indeed still have a scientifically interesting number of different birds and plants in it. With this inspector are two others. The first is the head of the local National Trust team. Strat, would you like to introduce your character, please?
Yes, so Brier, they're currently in the form of Robin Goodfellow. He is, as you say, the manager of the local National Trust site, the Rosebrier Forest. He's probably kind of late to early 40s. He's that sort of like old money kind of look where everything's kind of old and worn, but you know it's super high quality. Like, it's those people that they could get new stuff, but they don't need to.
It's not tweed print, it's actual tweed.
Exactly. Yeah. He's sort of like salt and pepper hair, but a very kind of strangely youthful face still. Everything, not a hair out of place. A very kind of like neatly grown kind of full beard. Almost looks a bit more like fur rather than hair in the way that it falls and it is kind of grown. And yes, he is walking confidently through the woods. And if you were to pay attention, you would notice that as he moves around, he is making very little noise for someone walking over sticks and leaves and such like.
And this inspection, Brier has quite a lot riding on this because Brier has an investment in this forest remaining protected.
Absolutely do,
for reasons that we will discover. But in that light, even, how seriously is Brier taking proceedings?
I think it's kind of like there's an internal battle going on because they do realise the seriousness of this, but also there is great potential for mischief and enjoyment with this inspector. I imagine the inspector has already tripped up over a root and fallen face first into a puddle of mud. And Brier has made a very big performance of helping them out and kind of dusting them off and being, very, very kind and helpful. But it was definitely his fault that the guy tripped.
And also with this small party is another member of Brier's / Robin Goodfellow's National Trust team. Nat, can you introduce your character, please?
Yeah, pretty newly initiated into the team is Gwynned, who is walking along probably behind the inspector if Robin Goodfellow is in front. She's wearing a lot of kind of dark linen but big stompy boots, and she's probably wearing like that kind of padded green gilet that you might get a National Trust person wearing, but she does not look comfortable in it at all. She's got this massive black curly hair that's kind of piled on top of her head and kind of half kept in place with a scarf. And she's also she's not walking through the forest silently, but she's definitely finding it very easy to walk through all of the interwoven grass. Like anything, even without Brier's interference, I think the inspector would be having to like tread carefully and pick around, whereas if he actually watched Gwynned properly, she's just sauntering casually. Like she's not finding it difficult, I think.
Yeah, so the two of you are making this inspector look very clumsy. What's this inspector like?
I imagine him quite officious.
Yep.
Little pair of glasses.
I think he's been sent there to do the inspection, but it's probably not someone that spends a lot of time in nature.
Yes, definitely.
He's an office person. Yeah, for sure.
I think before he arrived, he had the shiniest pair of shoes that Sheridan has ever seen. Not so shiny now.
No, absolutely not, and is currently alternating between trying to clean his glasses after his fall with a little microfiber cloth, but also trying to do that while keeping as much of an eye on the undergrowth as possible so he won't trip again. And also trying to balance a clipboard and pen in the crook of one arm as well.
Definitely a clipboard and pen. I'd like to add a little detail to Gwyn's uniform, if I may.
Yeah.
As the manager of the National Trust, Robin obviously is able to order the name badges that they wear. And Gwyn's does not say Gwyn. No matter how many times she has asked for a new one, it always just says Duck. And Robin insists that she wear it at all times.
Does it also does it have like the position as well? Does it say like junior assistant or something on it? Like something quite like.
Oh no, maybe actually no. This is better. It will say Gwynlyn, and then where it would usually say the position of the person, it just says Duck.
Yeah. And I'd also like to add that when the inspector fell over into the mud, Gwyneth was just that far behind him that she didn't actually kind of lean forward to help. She was more like, "Oh, watch your step."
So now that the inspector finishes cleaning or gives up on cleaning their glasses as a lost cause, puts them back on, refocuses, squints a little at the clipboard. On the last survey, there was. The lesser crested grebe was incredibly prevalent. I would have expected to have seen one by now. Might have to mark this one down.
Well, it's because we're not by the pond, you see.
Yes, I think really what I wanted to show you, and I will let Gwen help you out with this. She is the expert at sighting, but we have actually recently and very luckily spotted some golden pheasants. Very rare, as you I'm sure you all know, and generally do frequent this sort of like grassed area in which we find ourselves. I think Gwyn.
Are you sure? According to the data. Golden pheasants haven't been seen in this part of the country in decades.
Well,
no, they really like it here.
Yes, I mean we were just as surprised as everybody else, really. Gwyn, take this gentleman just over where you spotted them, would you? I will stay back. The fewer people approaching their habitat is probably the better. In fact, I'll just go over here behind this bush. In fact, yes, just over here. Bye.
Yeah. So if you step this way, they only particularly like to come out when they definitely can't see anyone. So let's come behind this tree here. We'll have to be quiet, obviously, because they don't like loud noises. So you should probably make sure your phone is turned off.
Oh, I haven't got any signal out here anyway.
It's for the best. And keep an eye out. Over there, look.
So over there, look, a golden pheasant is going to kind of just like poke its head around the corner of the tree, and then it's almost like cartoon-like, like look left and look right for threats, and then kind of like duck back a little bit, and then go forward again, and then look left and look right, and kind of like nod to itself like it's happy it's safe. And then I think the best way of describing it is it's going to walk forwards. It's going to strut, actually. It is going to strut forwards like it is on a catwalk, kind of really swinging its little birdie hips. And it's going to get to the end, and it's going to kind of like strike a pose, and it's just going to turn around, and it's going to strut back behind the tree. And as it's going to go behind the tree, behind the bush, Robin is suddenly going to appear from there. It's like, oh, I forgot to say, what you really must do is keep very quiet and make sure that you can't be seen, because they are very skittish, and if they do come out, they may go away. But I'll just go back behind this bush. I go back behind the bush, and as he goes back behind the bush, the golden pheasant is going to come back out again.
The inspector's mouth is open and his glasses are just slowly sliding down his nose without him even noticing.
Oh, so Gwynned is going to push them back up his nose, but like not missing a beat. It's just going to be like, yeah, so if you keep watching, it's actually the mating season, and if you're really lucky, they might show off that dance that they like to do.
The golden pheasant is going to do its best job at glaring. And then kind of just like start to waddle side to side. And then actually go, hang on, this is actually quite fun. And then its feathers are going to come out side to side. And it's actually going to shimmy with its feathers side to side. And then pirouette. And then bow.
And they always finish their mating dance with a cry.
Just going to call out. It's just going to squawk, but it's going to sound oddly like it's squawking, "Come and get me, boys."
So majestic.
Brier, this is wonderful mischief, and the one-upmanship from Gwynedd is just making it the sweeter. But at the highest point, as the cry leaves Brier's transformed birdie throat, it's cut off and it's strangled as a feeling cuts through you. What does it feel like to Brier as two members of the magical Fae community that they are responsible for are suddenly killed somewhere in the forest?
I think for Brier, they're kind of like as the Guardian. I think they have just like this little feeling always of their community. They don't know necessarily exactly where they are or what they're doing or anything like that, but like they know they're there, and if they concentrate, they can kind of like pick up and go, okay, that person's fine or that person's in trouble. And I reckon the death of these two, it's almost like, I don't know, almost like losing a limb or something. Like something has just gone. Something that you don't necessarily think about all the time, but you just kind of take for granted is there, just suddenly isn't. And I think that would be very distressing for him. In a flash, the golden pheasant isn't there anymore, and instead a giant black stallion is stood where that golden pheasant was. Any thought of trying to keep up pretense, I think, has left Brier's mind now, and he is going to trot over to Gwynedd, snort in her face, and kind of move the head to indicate, get on.
Brier knows, even though this is kind of acting on instinct and not fully thinking things through, Brier is aware that though this inspector has just witnessed something magical, he will naturally forget. It will stick in his short-term memory, and as soon as the Black Stallion is out of sight, he will start papering over this with some sort of justification in his long-term memory that maybe a horse arrived and scared off the golden pheasant rather than it turning into one.
As soon as that happens and the horse comes over, Gwynedd tries to soothe the horse by rubbing the nose and turns to the inspector and says, well, you're very lucky. 2 rare sightings in one day. That must be quite a lot for you to take in. Maybe you should make a note of that. And as he turns, I'm going to roll.
So first magic of the session. What does it look like when Gwynedd does magic?
I think for a mundane, they probably wouldn't notice per se. In this case, I think she is using the inspector's distraction and him turning to kind of place a hand on like the nape of his neck. And I think it's just her connection to the magic of the forest at the moment is just, maybe there's a warmth that he feels and just a soothing.
Channeling that through all of the creatures that are asleep in this forest right now in their burrows. Just channeling that feeling of warmth and safety and sleep into him.
Yeah.
Nice. What did you roll?
I rolled a 7, but I have +1 weird, and magic is weird, so that's an 8.
Okay.
So it's still not great, but...
In this game, a 10 is a success, 7 to 9 is a mixed success, 6 minus is a failure. So on a mixed success with used magic, it works imperfectly. So you get your effect, which is that he falls asleep. But what is the glitch?
It's of a really short duration. I think he does fall asleep, but he probably wakes up within 10 seconds. But it's like enough that he kind of wakes up and thinks, oh, I'm in the forest. Was that a horse over? No, hang on. So like it's enough time for us to have gone and for him to start thinking, okay, well, I can't remember what happened.
Yeah, it covers your escape and no more. Like, it's not enough time for any of the other National Trust people to find him. So he might be wandering the forest a little bit, but it definitely covers your escape. So what do the two of you do? Does Gwyneth mount up?
If Brier is okay with that, then yes, she does.
Brier is adamantly gesturing that that is exactly what she should do. So yes, we will go that full canter.
Does Brier travel at normal horse speed?
Well, I've got to be careful here because there is a move that I didn't take, which is preternatural speed.
Okay, cool.
I think that he is magically enhanced, but I don't want to be able to say, like, this horse can go 60 miles an hour. Because I think the whole point of that is, like, you are like a blur. I think he's faster than a normal horse, but we don't want to make it too powerful because that...
Well, it might be that the forest doesn't affect your movement,
That's true, yeah.
You don't trip over roots or you can just go through brambles and whatnot.
Saplings, bend out the way.
I think as well, if it's somewhere that was super, super far away and would take a long time to get there, Brier knows that Gwynned could fly us there quicker. So I think if we're going to go by horseback, that is the appropriate speed.
The undergrowth parts, saplings bend out of the way as Brier's hooves pound the ground and they head for the source of this disturbance. All right, lovies. It's me, Matt, your compere, nervously watching the audience in the interval, trying to gauge reactions. So now you've met Brier and Gwyn, and you'll meet Josh's and Starkey's characters in just a few minutes. If you're itching to know more about these new characters, you need to be following us on Twitter @merelyroleplay. Over the next week or so, we'll be posting some threads full of all of their likes and dislikes, backstory details, and relationships to others in Sherrydown. The more you like the tweets, the more details we'll post. Or, if you're willing to wait a bit longer for your details, you can always follow along with the players' character creation processes in this production's backstage episodes. If you enjoyed Playtime, our previous Vigil production, don't worry, Percy the Time Traveller, Graham the Demon Accountant, Renko the Furloughed Doom Agent, and Sheridan's favourite Bricky Mick will all return in future productions. Speaking of Playtime, that scenario is now available for you to play with your Monster of the Week group in issue 1 of the Sherrydown Inquirer. The Inquirer is an unofficial community newsletter written by a concerned citizen who's noticed strange things happening in Sherrydown. It gives you all the monster stats, plot hooks, mystery countdowns, locations, and character details you need to run a Monster of the Week group through the same scenario as Percy and friends, so you can see how differently your players handle the perils of playtime. And on top of that, it includes some other strange happenings our concerned citizen has noticed, which might just hint at things to come in Sherrydown. You can get the first issue of the Sherrydown Inquirer from the link in the notes for this episode, or go to foggyoutline.com and click on Games. The second issue will come out at the end of Cold Snap, and give you all the details you need to run this mystery. If you've got a question about Sherrydown or Vigil, there's an email address on the letters page in issue 1. Send in your question, ideally in character as a citizen of Sherrydown, and you could see it answered in a future issue. Now, just before I go call beginners for Josh and Starkey's first scene, I want to put in a good word for our friends at the Monster Hour podcast. Monster Hour is a grim camp production set in the town of Firmament, Colorado, telling their story using Monster of the Week, just like we're doing with Vigil. It is a finely balanced thing, between in-character action and out-of-character commentary, between dramatic violence, creepy atmosphere, and laugh-out-loud melodrama. I'll give you a little taste of Firmament right now, before we return to our seats in the main house for Vigil, Cold Snap, Act 1 of 6.
Hello everyone and welcome to Monster Hour, an actual play podcast about going to school, arguing with your parents, and ruining your favorite outfit while hunting horrible monsters. Narrative driven and crisply edited with painfully relatable characters. Monster Hour follows unlikely heroes JR,
super suspicious. That's sort of my deal.
Constance,
I may be a bit of a know-it-all, but I might actually know it all.
and Alvin
I'm monstrous.
as they unravel the sinister mysteries of a strange Colorado town. If you're a fan of Stranger Things, Buffy, or The Adventure Zone Amnesty, you'll love Monster Hour. Tune in for new episodes every other Tuesday, wherever you get your podcasts.
Elsewhere in the forest, there is a grove of oddities. There is a whispering well, there is a cave full of glowworms and fireflies, there is a quote-unquote pagan stone circle, and there is a gift shop. Josh and Starkey, would you like to describe the gift shop and your characters and their places within it?
Certainly. The gift shop is a relic of times gone past, an old, rickety, hand-built wooden structure with a wonky door that lets a draft in, several shelves made of oak wood, firm oak wood. There's a smell of incense and burning candles in the air. Anybody that walks in that's above the height of around 5'10" will have to duck to enter, for that is an indication of how the door is slightly too small for people of this era. They would also immediately smack their head on a set of wind chimes that hangs above the door. Looking up into the ceiling, these open timber beams of the ceiling of this shop, you'd see a number of dream catchers, wind chimes, other paraphernalia of an oldie, worldy, druidic feeling establishment. It is a gift shop filled entirely with tat.
Would anybody like to contribute some tat that is on the shelves of this gift shop?
I am currently stacking the shelves with book-shaped rubbers, pencils, little notebooks with a picture of the stone circle, a tea towel.
There are small tartan tins of mints.
And shortbread.
Yep.
There's more shortbread than you can shake a stick at.
And fudge.
Fudge, always fudge. There's those stupid mugs that have the pictures of animals, cartoon animals on. I forgot is it Rendale or something? This one's stupid. My mum is literally obsessed. My mum would love this shop. So this is like built for my mother.
Fridge magnets with people's
yes.
names and like what their names mean on them.
Mm-hmm. Lots of incense and scented candles for sale. Mm-hmm. A few little wooden pagan style figurines.
Keep calm and have a cream tea, that sort of thing.
Yeah. I heart Sherrydown aprons.
Yeah.
And since you've said that you're stacking the shelves, your character is stacking the shelves, Starkey, what do they look like?
You see a young, mid-20s looking man. He's wearing a baseball cap, a little green baseball cap. He has a green polo shirt on, which is slightly too small, which displays his impressive pecs and arms, which are too big for the sleeves. Not like bodybuilder size, but this is a size too small t-shirt that his boss has only ever had one of, and it was for a teenage girl. I'm wearing khaki sort of chinos that are again slightly too tight around the quads and around the buttocks. If you were to look closely, you would notice a steely gaze of someone who doesn't miss much or doesn't think they miss much anyway.
And supervising Cam, or what is Ginny doing in the gift shop currently, and what does she look like?
Ginny stands behind the counter, going through the receipts, double checking invoices from the latest batch of tat that was shipped over. Ginny is an elderly woman, slight build, long, flowing white hair. She wears old-fashioned clothing, a blouse, and a long, flowing skirt covering her legs and feet entirely. But on her feet she wears a pair of Birkenstock sandals. And in her hair, she's currently wearing a wreath of locally sourced organic flowers that have been woven into a sort of a crown. She wears a little name badge that says Ginny Greenteeth on it. Her face, although well worn and well lived, still has a certain sharpness. Her eyes portray a certain ferocity, and to all intents and purposes, she seems to be very much on Cameron and what he's doing as she's checking through the receipts.
So I have 2 questions about this scene. Are there any customers in the gift shop? And is Cam stacking the shelves to Ginny's satisfaction?
I think maybe this is pre-opening. I think maybe we're half hour before the doors are due to open, before the first coach load of tourists arrive.
And the shelves are bloody perfectly stacked. Like, every pencil is in line, every rubber is in place. If Cameron sees something that's slightly askew, he spends far too long making sure it's perfect. He cannot stand disorder. In fact, the fact that there are wind chimes hanging over the front door drive him mad, because he just wants to just raise them up ever so slightly. They should just be clearing the door frame. And he can't stand the fact that when he turned up to this place for the first time, it was a mess of candles and incense burning and junk everywhere. Since he's been there, it is a well-run shop. This is the perfect, orderly gift shop. And he cannot stand it when Ginny decides to move the diaries to the other side of the room without telling him.
Ginny looks up at Cameron stacking the pencils and the rubbers, and she says, Cameron, love, if you're going to spend all of your time stacking and reorganising those rubbers, we'll never open the bloody shop, will we now, my love?
Old woman, just 1 second, okay? Just what? There's this one rubber.
Cameron, love, you've got to stop sweating over the small stuff. Okay, we've still got plenty to do. I need you to go and check the bogs to make sure that we've got toilet paper. All right. I need you to go down to the mushroom patch and make sure that those toadstools are well polished. And I need you to let me know if any of the glowworms have gone out. I need to replace the bulbs.
He's just about to put the rubber in place, and he just gives Ginny a look of pure death. It's like, just let me finish this first.
One more
please.
Rubber, and then go and check the toilets, all right, my love?
He takes 30 seconds to put the rubber in place.
Ginny goes back to the receipts, keeping one eye on Cameron the entire time.
He puts the rubber down and goes to the toilets.
Honestly, that boy.
Cam, do you do the rest of these rounds of going out of the gift shop and checking the other locations of the Grove of Oddities?
Yep, the toilets are perfectly stocked, of course, as he knew they were. The only reason he went to go and check is because Ginny sometimes moves things around without telling him. He goes outside, he goes to check the mushroom patch. It all seems to be in order. He goes to the cave, which he doesn't really like a huge amount. And he notices the glowworms are fine.
Has Cam been working here long enough to be able to see the sort of the subtle enchantments and charms that Ginny has woven around this place to fool the tourists?
Yes, definitely. He knows all her silliness, and he hasn't got much time for it, to be honest. He's only really there because he doesn't trust her and just wants to keep an eye on her as much as she wants to keep an eye on him, I think.
As you're doing your rounds, you weren't explicitly told to check on the stone circle, but you notice as you're heading in that direction near the glowworm cave that the charms that Ginny has woven around that stone circle have broken. They're tattered, fraying, swaying in the wind. Whatever these charms sort of look like. What sort of thing have you put on the stone circle, Ginny?
I think there's a series of carvings of runes that mean absolutely nothing, but to the untrained eye look as if they've been carved by the druids 1,000 years prior. It's kind of the equivalent of getting a tattoo in the Chinese language, and when it translated, it means something completely different to what you think it means. Is that sort of feeling that, well, it looks old and the calligraphy and the swirling is all very, very lovely, but actually means nothing. I think there's been some magically grown moss and perhaps a little some ivy that creeps around the stone circles, and the place is just constantly imbued with the smell of a cold spring morning, the smell of dew on a meadow.
Okay, so what you notice, Cam, as you're passing, is that the magically grown moss and ivy around the around the circles of this stone circle have withered and turned brown, and you notice that smell, that sort of cold, dewy morning smell, has turned sour. What do you do?
How far away is the circle from the gift shop, would you say, Josh?
It's only about 200, 300 metres away.
Okay.
All of our attractions are within easy walking distance and totally disabled access friendly.
Okay, great. Well, maybe if I notice that if we're that close, then maybe I will have... I'll do two things, because I know enough about weird stuff to know when something's wrong with weird stuff, it can only be bad. So I'm going to do two things. I'm going to go to the gift shop and just say, hey, old one.
Yes, Cam?
There's the, that circle thing that you've got that smells nice in the mornings?
Oh, yes, I know very well. Quite a big attraction with the Americans, for certain. They like their photos in front of it. What do they call them now? Selfies.
That's it. Yeah.
Can't get enough of them, love.
Selfies. Yep. Well, it doesn't. It's the morning, and it doesn't smell nice anymore. And the moss and stuff.
Oh, Cameron,
is also...
what have you done over there? You haven't been using those harmful chemicals that you want to go and buy for me from the supermarket, do you? I told you it doesn't work on ancient arcanic ruins, my love.
As she's cut me off mid-sentence, I just close my mouth and stare at her, and turn around and walk away.
Cameron, what?
And I go to my caravan, and I pick up a duffel bag, and I walk back to the circle.
Ginny replaces the price tags on the animal print mugs from $5.99 each to let's say $9.99 each, and then exits the gift shop, taking in the view and the vista of Sherrydown. Another beautiful day in the God's green country. She wanders over towards the stone circle.
I meet her halfway with duffel bag in hand.
Oh, Cameron, it smells disgusting. What have you done to my incantations?
I keep walking.
Cameron? Oh, it's horrible.
Come on, stop this.
What?
You, just stop you.
Stop me?
Look, I haven't done any. Obviously, I haven't done anything because you're
Cameron, I know you're upset. I know you're angry. I know what's happened to you in the past has been traumatic, and I'm listening to you, and I understand you, my love. You're getting
please.
all of the love from me, all of the affection that's in my heart is coming with you now. But that doesn't mean that you can act out and you can inflict.
I have literally done nothing.
This is exactly like what happened with that dire wolf a few weeks back. Okay.
What, when I saved your life?
I didn't need to be saved, you stubborn little bugger. I've told you this several times. I had the entire operation under control, okay? It's just like this. You need an authority figure in your life, my love. You're burning with hatred inside, and I want to try and convert that into something more useful. Do you understand? So acting out on my stone circle and my business isn't a good way
just
of channeling that anger.
Just look at how. What could I do? Hang on. Hang on. You've changed the price on those mugs again, haven't you?
Let's go and have a look at the stone circle. I think you're right. I'd like to examine it for myself. Come on, Cameron. No, don't go back there. Come on.
Just.
Oh. We approach the stone circle, and the blood from Ginny's face just drains out, and her eyes go wide and agape.
As Ginny and Cameron arrive at the stone circle, across the other side of the circle, a black stallion comes to a crashing halt with a rider upon its back. What the four of you see in the stone circle is two bodies, both roughly humanoid, but clearly fey. One has bent back legs and hooves. The other has velvety antlers. They both appear sort of a feminine male presentation, and both wear woven wooden coronets with flowers woven through them. Brier recognises these two as Baron Oak and the Holly Duke. They have fallen as if in battle, as if in a struggle. There is blood, or whatever equivalent Fae have, scattered about. You can see cuts and stab wounds on both bodies. And also, incongruously within the stone circle, sort of near the two bodies, there are some more modern-looking clothes. A black hoodie, a pair of tracksuit bottoms, a pair of once white trainers stained with mud, which have been sliced. The hoodie particularly has been sliced through as if by a sword. Baron Oak and the Holly Duke are both armed. Their ceremonial traditional blades are lying near their still hands. What would you all like to do?
The moment Brier sees this, horse form drops, and Brier is now in their true form as a 1.5 foot pointed hat, smock wearing, pixie-like fey creature.
I have an important question.
Yes.
Did you wait for Gwyneth to get off before you transformed?
She jumped off. I think she sensed as soon as they arrived in the clearing. She jumped off and kind of slightly unnaturally floated to the ground. It was a very cool moment. They charged in and she dived off just as Brier transformed as they rushed towards the circle. Yeah, it was beautiful.
So yeah, form drop Brier. They're just going to rush forward into the circle, and in shock, just look at sort of down and hunker over the two bodies. And as they look up towards Ginny and Cam, just floods of tears and just rage. Their teeth are going to slowly sharpen and pointen. Their eyes will become feline and predatory, and they're just going to stare at Ginny and then look at Cam and then down at the cuts and then back at Ginny. Before we go any further, tell me it wasn't him.
Cameron, love, would you mind going back to the shop, closing up and putting the kettle on? I don't think we're going to be opening today. And not taking her eyes off of Brier, Ginny confidently walks towards him.
I think Gwynned has arrived kind of behind Brier and is standing, just looking over everything, but standing in quite a protective way, but also knowing that she trusts these two people, so still trying to figure out, well, hang on, the Fae folk are definitely dead, right? There's nothing that can be done. I think she's just trying to analyse that situation.
I turn around and start to leave, following what Ginny has told me to do. But as I get to the edge of the circle, I just turn around to Brier and say, "It wasn't me, but I know how you're feeling, mate. So don't give me your shit, all right?" I turn around and walk off.
In that moment, Brier's general Fae confidence kind of falters for a second, and they kind of slump a bit and just kind of sob.
Ginny approaches Brier, gets down on her knees and rests a hand on their shoulder. Brier, my love, I'm so sorry. This won't have been Cameron. He's a good lad. He's misguided, and he's hot-headed, and he's reckless. But he won't have done anything like this, my love. You have my word on that, I promise you.
I know. I know. I should apologise, I suppose.
Let's work out your grief right now, and we can work on apologies later. Cameron will be okay. He's got a thick skin.
We're going to find who did this, Ginny.
We are, my love. It might take a bit of time, but whoever has done this to the forest will meet a swift and brutal end, I assure you.
It will be Fey justice, Ginny. None of your mortal rubbish.
The power is with you, my love. Gwyn, love, do you want to come and kneel down next to us?
I don't think that Ginny would have needed to prompt. I think that, like,
cool.
At the end of that moment, Gwyn would have done that anyway. Yeah, so she kneels down and not only arms around Brier, but knowing that there's no humans around at the moment, her black angelic wings also come round and form a circle around the three of them, just having a little moment of holding each other.
Do they look like duck wings?
They do, but, well, they look like angel wings if they were made out of the feathers that a black with green shimmery duck has.
Super waxy.
Yeah.
I'd like to try and take this opportunity, if I can, to sort of get in tune with Brier and their feelings at the moment, to try and calm their emotions or offer them something to aid them in this situation. I just reach into the apron that I'm wearing and just pull out a handful of crushed flower leaves and a fine white and golden dusting powder, which I hold in my hands and begin to crush. And I begin to utter a mnemonic incantation under my breath. And it's just a sort of... it's just a small spell to offer waves of calm within this circle. And the runes of the stone circle just begin to glow ever so slightly with not necessarily a healing aura, but just a wave of understanding and shared pain between the three of us.
I think Brier's teeth recede. The eyes become the large, circular, black pupils that is their standard hue. They were my family, Ginny. They were my kin. We start now. And I kind of stand to my full 1.5 foot height, straight back. And I would like to let out... What sort of sound would it be? I think it would be a sort of cry of like an eagle or some sort of bird of prey that will reverberate through the forest as a kind of... It's sort of like a signal to... It's communicating this loss and this pain with the rest of the Fey court in the forest. If it's okay, I would like that to start whatever process there is in terms of like ritual, in terms of burial or whatever the Fey do when they lose one of their own. And I will turn back to Ginny and to Gwyn. My people will take care of the bodies.
That's good. We start this now, and we end this together, my love. I promise you that. We might need to look over these bodies for any clues, any signs of what's happened to them before they're taken away. Will you grant me the opportunity to look them over?
Yeah, Brier just nods slowly. Take all the time you need. My people will give you that time, but before the sun sets, we must perform our rites.
I'll be swift.
Ever since Brier's cry, small birds, but sort of bigger and bigger birds and bugs have started arriving and alighting on the standing stones, and they sit on the stones and they watch what happens within the circle.
I will then kind of look to them and say, The dead rest. But there are those living that I must make peace with. I'll be with Cam.
We've got things here.
I will just turn into a little robin and flutter towards the gift shop.
This has been Vigil, a main house production from Merely Roleplayers. It stars Chris Starkey as Cameron Jarvis, Natalie Winter as Gwynned, Strat as Brier, and Josh Yard as Ginny Greenteeth. Sound design for this production is by Natalie Winter, and the theme music is by Alex Pankhurst. I'm Matt Boothman, and I play the supporting cast, as well as editing and producing this episode. We were playing Monster of the Week, a role-playing game by Michael Sands, published by Evil Hat Productions. You can find Monster of the Week at genericgames.co.nz. Merely Roleplayers is a Foggy Outline production in association with Blackshaw Theatre Company. Until next time, if drama be the food of life, play on.
I can't wait to hear what you do with that, Nat.
Oh God, I've got to sound design this.